Good evening, believers. How are you doing today? This is Love Coach Dasha coming to you for the Healing Hour Live. Now, you are in the right place if you are here because you have been through the trauma of being cheated on. You've been cheated on by your boo, your honey, the person that you want to be with cheated on you. And you still want to be with them. You're not quite at that place where everybody says, oh, girl, leave them. You want to stick around. You want to be with the person that you love. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm here to tell you that that is absolutely possible. That is something that you can do. And you can get to the place where you feel loving and open and trusting and everything again. Hey, Charmene. Hi. Hey, Beth. Hi, y'all. I'm glad you're joining me. It's like probably the biggest group that said that they were coming this week. So I'm excited. We should have lots and lots of people on with us today. But, we are talking about getting on the healing path after infidelity. You've been through that. You have been through that trauma. You want to heal. You want to get better. You want to feel like, okay, I can trust this person again. And I am here to tell you how to do that. I am here to tell you all of the things that I have found out about how to do that because I personally have done it. I have actually experienced being cheated on and then getting past it, getting to the place where I feel very trusting, very open. Like I don't have the triggers. There's no pain in my chest anymore. I know how to get to that place. So I definitely want you to get to that place. Okay. So let me make sure everything is set up so I can see. Hello there, ladies. How are y'all doing today? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Let me make sure. Oh, let me refresh that. All right, so I can see everything that's going on. If you if you're in my Facebook group, go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Go to that and it will allow you to have your name be used so that I can see it on my streaming software that covers everything so that I can see your names all at the same time because I can't see everything on all the screens. So just go on over there, streamyard.com/Facebook and go to that. But hey, Carol, how you doing? All right, so we're getting ready to get started here. You know how we always start. We're going to start like we always do with the two things that I want you to always be doing as you are trying to heal from this trauma. And what are those two things? I want you to do your deep breathing and I want you to do your journaling. Have you been doing your deep breathing? Have you been doing your journaling? If you have not, you are doing yourself a disservice. These are important things you need to be doing. They are touchstones. They are things that you can always come back to, that you can always control, that are going to start making you feel better. You need all the control that you can get right now, right? If you are going to try and feel better, trying to gain control over your emotions, you need some things that you can control. So these are two things that are easy for you to control. You don't have to worry about trying to control your mate. You control the things that you do, and that is going to send you down the healing path. So first things first is doing the deep breathing. Hey there to everybody that's here on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. Come on. Let's do the deep breathing together. I want to do the deep breathing with you. Now, what we do when we do the deep breathing, we're trying to exhale and get rid of all that excess carbon dioxide that has built up because we are freaking out, right? Your breathing changes when you freak out. Your breathing changes when you're more anxious, when you are traumatized. So you are kind of sipping in the air and never really letting it out. So you need to be doing the deep breathing because that actually tells your brain that I am in control here. I do not need you to go off on autopilot and just, take over my breathing, take over my responses. I am in control. Just because I got hurt doesn't mean that I'm not in control of myself. So that's the very first thing that you're going to need to do. It's key to helping you overcome the trauma, is doing your deep breathing. So we're going to do that together. What we're going to do is we're going to blow out, and we're going to blow out until our lungs completely deflate. Okay. Just blow out until you can't blow anymore. Then you're going to inhale for a count of 4. You're going to hold that breath for a count of 7, and then you're going to blow out like you're blowing out birthday candles for a count of 8. What we want to do is make that that whooshing sound when we blow out, because you're creating a trigger in your brain. You're creating a calming trigger. You are creating a sound in your head that is telling your brain, hey, I'm calming down. Beth, the other day we were in our recovery and reconciliation meeting. She said that her husband has noticed that she goes on a regular basis now. So he is noticing when you start doing the deep breathing, you start reacting differently. Your honey is going to start to notice it too. So it's not going to be just, just that you're working on it. They're going to see that you're working on it too. You're making that sound, you are blowing out, you are counting your breaths, you are slowing yourself down, you are getting back in control of yourself, which is exactly where you want to be, right? You don't want to be out of control of yourself anymore. You want to feel better. So doing the deep breathing, once you've done this, Beth, you're on it if he's already noticing it. But we got to do this 5 times a day. You need to be doing this consistently. It is okay in the moment when you are freaking and you're having a little bit of a panic attack. It's okay in the moment. But it works much, much better if you start off your day first thing in the morning before you even put foot to the floor, doing your deep breathing, and then doing it 4 other times during the day. So 5 times through the day consistently is going to just bring that anxiety down level by level every day. It's going to be pushing it down to the point where you can get it to a good even place where you can deal with it instead of letting it be way up above your head and overwhelming you all the time. If your anxiety is always up high, if it's always a 7 or an 8 or a 9 at all times, hey Allie, if it's all the way up there, it doesn't take much to push you to a 10, does it? It doesn't take much to push you to want to rip my hair out, tear my clothes off, run screaming down the street naked. It does not take much to get there from 7, 8, 9. So if we're consistently bringing it down, what we're going to do is be able to get in better control of it on a day-to-day basis. And then it'll spike, yeah, but you won't be going overboard with it. All right. Does that make sense? Everybody with me on that? All right, so we're going to do our deep breathing. You're going to blow out, inhale for a count of 4, hold that breath for a count of 7, and then you're going to blow out like you're blowing out birthday candles for a count of 8. We're trying to get all the candles out on the cake so that we can make our wish, okay? All right, so we're going to blow out. Inhale through your nose, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blow out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blow out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold it, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blow out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Beautiful. Lovely. How do you feel when you do the deep breathing? You should feel a difference in your state of mind, in the way that your body feels after you do the deep breathing. There should be a change. There should be something that's different. You can feel a little bit lightheaded. You can feel like all of a sudden you've got some like oxygen in your brain and you're thinking a little bit more clearly. You can yawn, you can stretch. There's some things that should happen when you do this, because it is actually changing the way your body is operating and the way that your brain is operating when you give it that fresh oxygen. So be working on that, okay? How does it feel? I hope it feels lovely to do the deep breathing, and it feels even better. Hey, Lori. Hey, you've been working on your deep breathing too. You've been working on it. Just 5 times a day. That's what you need to be working on every day. Give yourself this self-care time. That's not asking much. You see how fast it was to do it 3 times. And we do it 3 just because we're on video. But 5 times is not that much longer. You're doing this for a couple of minutes in the morning, a couple of minutes in the early afternoon, couple of minutes in the early evening, and a couple minutes after dinner, a couple minutes right before you go to bed. You're not taking that much time for yourself, okay? It's not drastic. Lori said yes to the deep breathing. It is good stuff. When you are doing it consistently, You are bringing that level down so that you can deal with it on, like, a day-to-day basis. You can deal with it instead of it being huge and overwhelming to you. Okay. So do your deep breathing. All right. One more time. Do your deep breathing. Okay. All right. So the next thing is to do your journaling. Do you have a journal yet? I need you to go ahead and get a journal. Okay. I don't care what you get. Let's see what I got over here. I got my Golden Girls. Look at that. I've got, what's this one? This one came from Five Below. It's zipped up. I used to love these when I was young. One that actually zipped up, and oh yeah, you feel so secure. What I got? I got the little itty bitty pink one. You can stick this in your pocket. It does not matter what journal you use. It does not matter what pen or pencil you use. There is something about the action of writing down your thoughts that calms you, that gets your brain involved in it and says, okay, she is paying attention to these thoughts. Yes, you don't necessarily want all the thoughts, but your brain is screaming to match it, so you might as well go ahead and write them down so they will let it go. That's how it is. Okay, your brain is screaming at you to pay attention to it, and when you write it down, your brain is satisfied that you have paid attention to the thought, and then it will let it go. All right. And the same thing, we need that not just for the bad thoughts, we need our journaling for the good thoughts too. There are good things that happen to you, and you will forget them. You will forget them if you don't. We were talking about in the Recovery and Reconciliation membership last night. We need to get some gold stickers. Lori said that's what we need. We need some gold stickers. So you can mark down when you're having a good day. You can mark it down and say, you know what? This was a good day. I was in control of myself. I was not flipping out. I looked for help when I needed it. I controlled that panic reaction, that trauma reaction. I did good this day. You need that written down in your journal so you can go back to it. And then you will start to see, you will get longer and longer periods of time where you are doing well. You will have longer periods where you're like, okay, all right, I was doing pretty good. I'm getting more and more freaking gold stars in my journal. I'm doing better and better. It will let you know that for the times where you're having a hard time and you feel like you've gone back to like beginning, and you'll be able to go back in your journal and say, no, I'm not going back to the very beginning. I have actually been doing pretty good. Yeah, some bad things happen. Yeah, I feel a little some kind of way today and maybe yesterday, maybe tomorrow, but the last couple of weeks have not been bad. They have not been terrible. So your journal is great for that. It's good to get the good stuff down and the bad stuff down. 5 minutes first thing in the morning, and then before you're going to bed at night, it's going to get those thoughts out of your head before you go to sleep, so you can maybe rest and not have the nightmares and whatnot. And then in the morning, it helps you to get up and wake up and organize your thoughts and organize your day, just to sit and write in your journal for a few minutes, and just to take that little bit of time, again, a little bit of self-care time just for you, because you're going through something. You should have a little bit of self-care time. All right. So just for that. Your journal should always contain your date, your time, and your level of anxiety. Okay, date and time, so that you can correlate things. You can say, okay, every day at 8:23 p.m. I'm feeling some kind of way. Wonder what that's all about. Then you can kind of trace it back and start to understand where the feeling is coming from. If you don't have it written down, you may not even notice that is a specific time or a specific day or a specific part of the month. So then you will be able to have data that will tell you what is going on with your emotions. And so then you can anticipate things. You don't have to just be overwhelmed by the feelings. You can anticipate them coming, and you can know that they're going to get there, and then you can do something about it before they get overwhelming. And that's the key. If you can do something before the feelings are overwhelming, you are doing excellent. You are healing if you're doing that. Okay. All right. So keep on your journaling. I want you to do your journaling. Your level of anxiety is 0 to 10. 0 is no anxiety whatsoever. You are at peace. All is right with the world. That is great. Write that down. Even that is important to know. But there is a 10. A 10 is a loss of control. You are out of control of yourself. So chances are you're not going to be journaling. So if you're sitting down and you're journaling, guess what? You're probably not a 10. Isn't that good to know? I think that's a great thing to know. But it just keeping it 0 to 10 means you can keep a corral around these feelings. They are fenced in. That's as big as they can get as a 10. That's as far as it can go. That's as huge as it can get to you as a 10. It can't get any bigger. It cannot be a 20. It cannot be, planet size. It can only be a 10. So that's comforting in and of itself, and it helps you to try and get your control over the feelings, to understand that they're not really overwhelming you the way that you think they are. All right. All righty, let's see what else do I have for you today. Oh, of course, we've got to talk about Thirsty Thursday. Do we have anybody for Thirsty Thursday? I don't think we do. Does anybody want to tell me something good? I want to hear some good stuff. Tell me something good. Come on the comments, whether you're here now or you're on the replay. I don't care. I want to hear some good stuff, okay? I know good things happen to you this week. And that's the point of me doing the Thirsty Thursday, so that you remember to write down that there were some good things that happened to you this week. It was not all bad. It was not terrible. Lori, I'm going to share yours. I'm going to share yours because yours is really good. Lori sought help yesterday when she was feeling it, when it was like nails on a chalkboard, it was just wearing her down. She sought help. That is an important thing. That is a very important thing to do. You should seek help. When you are feeling this, seek some support from somebody who understands, who knows what's going on. Me. If you got access to me, definitely use me as a resource. But you can come to my group too. Seek that help when you need it. And remember what your path is supposed to be. You are trying to heal. You are not trying to stay stuck. You're not trying to stay miserable. You are trying to heal and move forward. So you do the things that will get you to that point. Allie said we got the and game. Oh, we can't stop playing. Yay, because we're going to do that in a second. Excellent. Good job. Isn't it fun? It's so much fun. And it's like, it's talking, because we want to talk, right? We want to talk to him, and we want to answer. We want to get our questions answered. But this is a much healthier way of doing it. Going back and talking about the trauma over and over and over again is doing nothing but re-traumatizing you. And someone asked, how do we get him to communicate and stop with the lies? That's what it was. A lot of the time, what will happen is, if you keep asking the same question over and over again, especially with men, they will continuously give you a different answer because you didn't like the previous answer. If you ask the same exact question again, that means that you weren't satisfied with the answer that you got the first time. It may have been the truth. It may have been exactly what it was. It may have been exactly what was going through their mind at the time, but you did not accept that answer. So then when you ask it again, you're going to get a different answer. That's why they lie. Okay. That's why they're lying. It's so weird, because you're like, well, why don't you just say the same thing over again? Because that didn't make you happy. That made you upset, and it made you ask the question again. So that was not an answer that you were willing to accept. And he knew that, and he went ahead and told you something different. So asking the questions over and over and over again, they just re-traumatize you more, because he's gonna give you different answers. Does that make sense? I know that's a weird thing, but I've seen it time and time again. Lots and lots of men do it. Yours is not the only one. Okay. Mine did it. Almost all the women that I talk to, almost all the couples that I talk to, I'm trying to tell you, it's a thing with them. They're like, well, you didn't want that answer. That wasn't the right answer then. And so they try again. All right. All right. Let's see. So let's do some of the and. That's an excellent Thirsty Thursday. I'm glad to hear about that. Good stuff. You are working towards healing, not just getting stuck in the pain and the trauma. That is the decision that you got to make. We were talking about the decision last week. Remember, we were talking about the first step of the dreams formula is making that decision. You got to decide what you want. You have to decide, which side are you going to be on? Am I going to be living a torturous life, or am I going to be happy and trusting and open and free again? I think we like happy and trusting and open and free, right? Don't we want that? So that's what we got to be going for. That is what you need to do every day. See if what you are doing aligns with that vision for your life. If it does not align, if it is something that you are doing just out of fear or out of anger, out of vengeance, you are not aligning yourself with what you truly want, and you're not going to get what you want. And then you're going to be mad at him all over again because you were taking the wrong path. So we got to take the right path, all right? You might have make that decision and stick with it. All right, so let's see. Let's do a question. It said, what about our connection do you rarely admit to yourself? I don't know. That could be anything, right? That's a good question. Let me see. Can I see that? Yeah. What about our connection do you rarely admit to yourself? Over here on Instagram. What about our connection do you rarely admit to yourself? I don't even know. I don't know if off the top of my head about that one. It's an interesting question, though. If it's something that sparks up something in you, ask your honey. So, what is the value we share, and how does that shape our relationship? Isn't that interesting? That's a good question. What's a value that he and I share, that came from the way that we were raised? What is a value we share, and how does that shape our relationship? We were the oldest in the house, and we had to watch the younger kids all the time. And we both, when we were, getting together, trying to work this out, we were like, if we have kids, we're not going to have them watching each other. We're just going to have to be there. One of us is going to have to be there. We're going to have to have a babysitter. We're going to have to do that because we're not going to give them that responsibility over one another. And because we didn't particularly like it, we did it, but it wasn't like our favorite thing. And so we came to agreement on that. And so that's what happened. And our kids are like best friends. They're 3 years apart and they get along extremely well. And it's weird for us because we're like, well, we didn't get along with our siblings like that when we were young, but it was because we were in charge of them instead of just being able to be siblings with them and not have that responsibility. So that was one of those things that's kind of shaped our family dynamic. Our kids are very close, and they get along really, really well. And I think it's a little weird too, because I never saw that as a kid, but it's just the fact that we agreed on that as a couple. So that's one of our values, just so you know. All right. What stops you from being completely transparent with me? Ooh, you might not want to hear the answer to this one. You might not want to hear it. Now, what stops you from being completely transparent with me? It's probably because you don't want to hear it. Just telling you. Yeah, most people think that they want complete transparency, but it's painful to have complete transparency. It is nerve-wracking, okay? Most people think that they want that, but it's hard. It's not an easy thing to have complete transparency. So that might be it. Laura, you said that's awesome about my kids. Yeah, and it's so weird to have them like they like each other. They get along. But we do like family game night, and we try and like do stuff together and spend time together, and show them that we actually like are interested in them. We care about what's going on with them. So, we got that same value system for that we just had from the very beginning, and that was a really good bonding point for us. It's a good thing. So that's a few questions from the And deck. That's the that's the healing edition. It's from the skindeep.com. Can you see it on there? Yeah, there we go. The And healing edition, the skindeep.com. So you can get your questions from there and you'll have something to talk about. That is not just the cheating. Okay. Life is more than just the cheating. We can't just talk about that consistently. It's going to drive you nuts. All right. All right, so let's get to talking. Let's get to talking about the R today. We were talking about the D of the Dreams Formula last week. So this week we're going to talk about the R, which is recognizing and overcoming the fear speech. Oh, the fear speech. That is the thing that gets you. That's where the triggers come from. That's where those voices in your head that tell you all those awful things. That's what it is. It is fear speech. It is the voice of the trauma, the part of your brain that is struggling so hard. Please be careful. Bad things can happen to you. I don't want you to get hurt again. And they will start telling you things are not necessarily true just to be able to get you to back away from people so that you won't get hurt again. But that's painful in and of itself. So listening to the fear speech is pain, but it's trying to stop pain. So we've got to get away from that, okay? Because the idea that, you will experience this pain again. Yes, it is scary. Yes, absolutely it is. But on your way to living the life that you want to live, there's going to be some pain. There's going to be some scary. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to choose when it is appropriate to have something scary. And when you are trying to heal, it's appropriate to have something scary. Okay. It's appropriate to have a little bit of fear, but to push through it and get past it anyway. Because if you don't, then you are going to be alone. You are going to be isolated, and that is no fun. It's very hard to come back from that. Who was it earlier today? I was asking if people had questions. It was Melissa. Melissa was saying that she keeps blowing up her relationships because she's dealing with the fear and the trauma, and she can't get past it. And so then every time she gets back into another relationship, she blows it up because she doesn't pay and she doesn't trust anybody at this point. It's not even about that person. It's about this past trauma that she never quite got over. So if you isolate yourself and this whole relationship falls apart, guess what? You're still going to want a relationship later on. You're still going to want to be with somebody else eventually. You're not going to want to be by yourself. And so then you're causing yourself more pain by letting the fear have its way, listening to the fear speech, and letting yourself live in this trauma and just be untrusting and not open for yourself. So you got to start working on that. That is the key thing about the fear speech. You've got to stop listening to what it's saying. Stop trying to do what it's telling you to do. When the fear is telling you something, it is absolutely imperative that you do not do it. Okay? Whatever the fear is telling you, if you are uncomfortable, if the fear is like, you need to leave, you need to just leave right now, you need to leave him alone, you need to run away, that is the worst thing that you can possibly do. If the fear is telling you, don't touch me. I don't want to touch you. I don't want to touch skin to skin with you. I don't want to feel good and touch you and be near you. That is the wrong thing to do. When you are listening to what the fear tells you, fear wants to isolate. Fear wants you to pull back. Fear wants you to be alone. So if what you really want in your life is to be close and to be trusting and to be open and to be happy, then you have to behave in that way. You cannot behave distrusting and angry and resentful and regretful and pulling back if you want that happiness in your life. It's not compatible. You can't do both. You can't be acting like a person who is unhealed and want the life of a person who is healed. Does that make sense? Let me tell me if that is craziness to you or if that makes sense to you, because it is a decision. It's still the same thing as last week. You've got to make these decisions on a regular basis, just consistently making the decision toward what you actually want, not what the fear is telling you that you should want. You got to make that decision of fear over love. We did that in the Big D challenge back in January. That's what we were talking about. Fear versus love. You have to decide which one that you want. Do you want to follow the path of the fear? Do you want a life where you are consistently having to check his phone and constantly checking his GPS, and every time he's away from you, can't trust that he's going to be okay and do the right thing and come back home to you? You're always thinking that something bad is going to happen. Is that the type of life that you want? If that's not the type of life that you want, you can't behave in that way as you're healing. You cannot be stuck messing with his phone every single solitary day if you want to have a relationship where you trust him and you don't have to deal with his phone. All right. Does that make sense? You can't have both. You got to choose what you want. You can't let the fear make the decisions for you. That's what it really comes down to with the fear speech, with the fear speech that's going on in your own head and the fear speech that you're going to get from the outside. You have to still remember to stick to your plan. Your plan is to be better, right? Your plan is to heal. Your plan is to get to a better place with them instead of without them. So that is what I want to tell you about with the fear speech today. Okay. You've got to recognize it. You've got to understand that that's what it is. Everything that's telling you negativity, the back off, don't talk to him, don't touch him, don't text him, don't speak to him. All of that is probably fearful, is probably fear based, and it's probably not going to get you where you want. Um, don't behave in a way that does not align with the life you are trying to live. Okay. All right. So that basically that's what you need to know about the fear speech. The fear will try and tell you to do something. If the fear is telling you to do something, you need not listen to it. Okay. If you listen to the fear, you're going to get a fearful life. You're going to get that life that you don't want, trying so hard to get the life that you do want. All right. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. All right. Let's see. What else do I have going on here? So as far as like rebuilding your trust, first of all, go sign up for my trust issues challenge. Okay, we are working on that in the trust issues challenge. First week of April, first full week of April, we are going to talk about the trust. We are going to be doing exercises where you actually activate those muscles. I always say trust is like any other muscle in your body. You got to use it. You got to work it out. Okay, it's just like, using weights to work out your muscles. Your resistance, your stress, your anxiety is your resistance. You have to decide to trust anyway and work out against that resistance, and it's going to make you stronger. And the more you practice it, the easier it's going to get. The weight is not so heavy when you practice it on a regular basis, just like any other time. You move up from 1 pound weights to 3 pound weights to 5 pound weights. It gets easier and easier as you go along because you're getting stronger and stronger. And that's what we're working on the trust issues challenge. So if you have not signed up for the challenge, do so. I don't know what you're waiting for. Go on over here to my Facebook group, and I believe it's in my link tree on Instagram too. Yeah, it is. So sign up for the trust issues challenge. You'll get emails from me, a few emails from me right off the bat, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna work on the trust. Okay. All right. But other than that, trusting is belief. Trusting is believing in somebody. Now, like I told you last week, you do not have to believe in somebody 100%. Nobody ever actually asked that of you. That was the way you felt before when you first fell in love and you were just like all over each other. You had that 100% trust, but that actually wasn't a healthy thing to do anyway. You shouldn't trust anybody 100%. Okay. We're all just people. None of us deserve 100% trust. Okay. I don't think I even trust myself 100%. Raise your hand if you don't trust yourself 100%. Let me know. Give me some likes, some love, some hearts, some whatever. If you're here now or on the replay, let me know. Do you trust yourself 100%? I think that's actually a lot to ask, to try and 100% trust a whole other person, not even yourself, but a whole other person in a relationship. That's a lot to ask. That's a big ask for another human being. 70-80% trust in somebody else is not bad at all. Okay, you're still in a passing grade at 70%. All right, 80%, you're still at a B. Okay, you do not need to trust somebody 100% to be able to trust them. I know people will tell you that seems to be the belief that, oh well, if I don't get back to 100% trust, then there's just no reason to ever be in this relationship again. But do you trust other people 100%? Do you do that? I don't think I had ever trusted anybody 100% before I like fell so deeply in love with my husband. And then it was shocking. And, it was like cold water in the face to suddenly feel like, oh, wait, 100%, that was too much, you know? But in real life, I don't think I'd ever trusted anybody that much. And you really shouldn't. That's not healthy. You have to depend on yourself way more than you're going to be depending on other people. All right? So, um manage your expectations of the trust is what I'm trying to say. That's a good way to work on getting it back. If you look at it and you're like, oh, I'm actually about 70%, I feel like for the most part I can trust them on most things. That's not bad. That's not a bad thing. You just work from there. Focus on that much that you believe in, and then continue to extend that belief. That's what you're going to be doing, practicing the trust. You don't have to start off with 100, and you don't have to end with 100 either. That's a little bit much to ask. All right. What else? Recognize when you're feeling mistrusting too. Melissa, when you're doing something out of the fear and you can feel it in your body, most of the time when you're feeling mistrusting, when you're feeling anxious, it appears in your body before it appears in your brain. Before you are consciously aware of it, your body starts to feel it. So when you are in those just mistrusting moments, examine your body, scan it, see where it is you feel that feeling that I don't trust you. Is it in your gut? Is it way down here in your belly? Is it right up here in your solar plexus? Feels like somebody punched you and you can't breathe. Is it in your chest? It feels like your heart is about to collapse in on itself. Is it your shoulders? Are your shoulders way up here and all tight and tense and hunched? Is it a headache? Is it tightness around your head, around your temples? Figure out where exactly it is in your body and follow that feeling back. Try and catch it when you first feel that feeling and say, oh, I am not trusting right now. What would be the opposite of this? I'm resisting giving the trust. So I'm going to believe in them in some way, shape, or form instead of pulling back, instead of resisting that. Melissa, it's just a practice thing. It's just doing it consistently. And then if you have somebody that you feel like is worth it, it's a little bit easier, but it's still all just practice. It is acknowledging what you're feeling and then choosing your path instead of letting the emotions just run what you do. Does that make sense? Well, Melissa, I hope that helps. I hope that it, gives you a little bit of direction on it because it's hard to trust again. It is so difficult. All right, let's see. What else do I have here? Let's see. Brittany was asking me about communication. She was saying that he's still in limerence. He's feeling some kind of way because the other woman didn't want to do what he wanted him to do, and now he can't compromise on whatever it is she wanted. So, now they're not together, and now he's sad. Okay, I know that's frustrating. I know it is. I know that it's frustrating to see that your honey is sad about not being with somebody else. I get that, but it's just a feeling. It was just the fact that his hormones had kicked in and he was feeling a little lovey-dovey. The first love feeling is all hormones. It's dopamine and norepinephrine and it's serotonin. It's all sorts of stuff kicking off. It's your testosterone levels rising and the man's testosterone levels declining and getting more estrogen so that you understand one another better. It's a whole thing, but it's also a physical thing. So he's going to feel a little bit messed up about it for a little while. That is perfectly fine. Don't talk to him about it. Don't, because you don't need to validate those feelings. He is feeling those feelings. You don't need to do anything about them. He's just feeling those feelings and they have to fade away. When the hormones start going back down to normal, he will realize, he will come back to himself and he'll be like, damn, was I really that upset over somebody that I don't even really want to, I wasn't even trying to be with like that. It's going to dawn on him eventually. So you do not have to talk to him about it. You do not have to be a shoulder for him to lean on. You just continue on with your own relationship. Don't worry about how he was feeling about her. You just go ahead and continue with your relationship. If he is so distracted that you can't really even engage with him at all, go do the 180. Go do that. Still, say you love them. I know that's like number 11 on the 180. I still say you love the person that you love, but all the rest of the stuff, go do that. Stuff like backing off, not calling them, not texting them, not being all in their face, going to do the things that you like to do instead of worrying about what's going on with them, showing them a joyful, happy, fulfilled person who has their own life going on. It will start to draw his attention right back over to you. But in the moment right now, he's distracted. His hormones are all messed up and he thinks that he is just, he just lost something and feels so bad. It's just hormones. It's going to wear off. He's going to be better in a little while. So don't worry about trying to connect with him about that, because the more you try and connect with him about that, the more you're going to tell him that, oh, this looks like this was important. This feeling that you were having, this must be important. This must be real. And it wasn't. It was just hormones. So don't talk to him about it. Don't communicate with him about that. Communicate about other normal stuff. Your regular everyday life. Don't get all wrapped up in his emotions while he's in the limerence. It's not gonna do anything but validate those feelings and make him feel like they're real. And then he's gonna be trying to, go back to her or do something crazy stupid just because he's feeling some kind of way with his hormones. Does that make sense? I hope, Brittany, that helps a little bit, but yeah, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go and try and talk to him about it and make him feel better. You don't have to do that. That is not necessary. You do not have to do that to yourself after what he has done. He got all wrapped up in his feelings. Let him work his way out of his feelings, and you go do the things that you need to do and make yourself happy. Take some of that attention off of him, and he will notice that you have taken that attention away, and then he'll be like, well, why are you not paying me attention? I like you. Pay attention to me. And then he'll remember that you're the person that he really wanted to be with. You're the person that he really feels that loss, that not being in his face and not talking to him all the time and not, trying to engage all the time will make him feel the loss of you even more than he feels the loss of her. Okay. All right. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, I remember. Oh, Amarita gave me a good question today. Oh, this one. Oh, where'd it go? Shucks. Oh, yeah, it's over here. All right, hold on. Amarita was talking to me a little bit earlier. She said, let's talk about porn. Let's talk about porn, Amarita. I'm with you. I am fully with you. Let's go ahead and talk about porn. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab that. Oh, oops. There it is. All right. Where's my messages? Come on here. Everything's going slow. All right. Amrita was saying, what'd you say? Oh my God. Everything is super slow this time. Of course, the one thing I don't have pulled up, it takes forever to get to it. All right. Oh, dang. It's not in there? Huh. I don't even know where that question is, Amrita. I remember what you were saying. You were asking me about him using porn and masturbating, okay? Look, all right, seriously. First of all, the whole thing with masturbation is, I feel like that's self-care, all right? And I'll just talk to you about that first. I feel like you do not have to have sex every single solitary time you want to have an orgasm. Is that outrageous? I don't feel like that's totally outrageous. You can get in contact with your own body. We are grown-ups. Our bodies are ours. They were designed for us, to give us pleasure, to give us shelter, to give us all the things that we need. So I don't feel like it should be a bad thing to play with yourself, to be able to have a little bit of intimate time with yourself. Does that make sense? I know, everybody gets a little touchy and you're like, well, why doesn't he want to have sex with me? Okay, that's a work thing. That's a job. Okay. Having sex, it means that you have to focus on the other person. And if it's just, okay, you just wanted to have an orgasm and come and go to sleep. All right. That doesn't mean he has to wake you up and get you in the mood too, and then make sure that you get off first and then have the orgasm that he was looking for. That seems like that's a lot of extra steps. And that's saying that I just have to be involved in everything you do. And that's a little bit of inappropriate control. That's a little bit much. Now, I understand having issues with porn. I personally don't. I feel like a lot of porn actresses are making their own decisions. They are grown-ups. They can do what they want to do. I understand the link between pornography and sex trafficking. I do understand that. But I'm not saying that every single solitary person I've ever seen in porn was sex trafficked. I don't feel like that's true. There are plenty of people who make the decision. I have known several people who have made the decision to just be in porn because it was good money. It was a fun thing they wanted to do. So I don't automatically just assume that everybody that's in porn is being abused and that they don't want to do it. Now, if the two of you have talked about it and you are on the same page about it, he was like, look, I think porn is disgusting. I don't think that we should have that in our lives. And then he's using it. I get that. I understand completely feeling like, oh, he agreed with what I was saying. And he said that no, there wasn't going to be any porn in our lives. And then all of a sudden he's using that. I understand that. You're feeling like he lied to you about it, which if he had always been using it, yes, indeed he did. But there's also the point that most people, if they had a grown up who would say something about it to them when they were younger, would tell them that's private. That's not something that you talk about. That's not something that you share with other people, that I was watching porn and that I was masturbating. That's not something that you necessarily do. So it's not actually out of the ordinary for people to lie about it, to not say, well, yeah, hey, I was taking care of myself a little bit. I was doing a little self-care and I felt a little good and then I went to sleep. It's not out of the ordinary for that. Okay. So I understand the deception part. I understand the lying part. I think address that more than trying to control what they are consuming, saying that, oh, well, I have a problem with porn, so you should have a problem with porn. And if you don't, then I consider that cheating. I think that you're doing something wrong because you are watching videos and pleasing yourself. I think you should have that ability, okay? I feel like everybody should be able to do that. And if you're not doing it, you maybe should try it, because it's not that bad, okay, to be able to please yourself. It's very hard to know, what you like unless you've had some experience with that pleasure yourself. So I feel like if this was an agreement between the two of you, then that is something that you can talk about. But later on, I feel like if he was always watching porn and he was always going ahead and just masturbating and coming real quick and just using that for entertainment or self-care or sleep or whatever it is that he's using it for, I feel like trying to control that is inappropriate control. I feel like you are trying to have control over somebody else's body, and I do not want anybody to have any control over my body. So I feel like we should not be doing that to other people. Does that make sense? You're with me on that, Beth? Okay. All right. Because it feels like that's a little bit far to go. That feels like a boundary that you shouldn't cross, trying to control what somebody else does with their own body. If they just wanted to, rub one out real quick and go to sleep, okay, that didn't have to do with you. That didn't have to mean that we have to have sex. Those two things are separate. Just wanting to have an orgasm and wanting to have sex are completely different things. Those are two totally separate things that are going on. So yeah, you all tell me if I sound crazy, if that sounds like I'm incorrect, or tell me your ideas about it. But I feel like, we are grown-ups. There were some things that, we were told when we were younger that we were going to be able to do when we were grown-ups. And I think porn is one of them. I think it is not appropriate when you were young, but if you're older and you are feeling like watching some, you can watch some. I don't feel like that is betraying your spouse. I feel like that's more personal care than relationship care. Does that make sense? I hope that does. All right. But yeah, just because he just wants to play with himself doesn't mean that he wanted to have sex. That's two different things. All right. Allie, you with me on that? Facts on that? Okay. All right. I get porn is a very sensitive subject. I totally understand that. But I feel like, taking it to the idea that, oh, then that means you're cheating on me because you're watching something on a screen and they're touching themselves. I feel like that's going a little too far. I feel like that's a little bit too controlling. That's a little bit much for being in a relationship with another person. It means that you want to try and control what they're doing with their body, and they can never have any physical pleasure without it involving you. That doesn't sound right. Does it sound right to you? It doesn't sound right to me either. All right. Let's see. What else we got? Any other questions? Anybody got anything else going on? I got other ones. What else is happening up here? Oh, Charmaine. Charmaine said, how to get over the triggers faster. Oh, yeah. She said, I feel like I'm dwelling on them all day. It feels hard to breathe and I feel so uneasy. You're right. That is exactly what it feels like. The triggers are sensory things, they are things that happen that remind you of the trauma in some way. And they come through your senses. So, your sense of sight, touch, smell, taste, hearing, all of those things will introduce a trigger. So it could be the smell of a certain perfume or the smell of somebody's Bath and Body Works. And you're like, oh, that's what that girl was wearing the last time that she was over here with him, or a certain song comes on the radio. Well, they were enjoying that song when they were in bed together. All sorts of things will come up that will remind you of the trauma. So first thing is figuring out what they are. That's the first thing to deal with the triggers. We got to start writing those down. Use your journal. That again, that's always important. Use your journal. Break that bad boy out and start writing down the things that trigger you. And then write the things down that happened before they triggered you too. Not just, at the very moment of the trigger, because a lot of the time a trigger starts before you quite fully consciously realize that it's happening. So write down the things that are happening ahead of that, because you may find some similarities later on. You'll be like, okay, yeah, I was triggered. I was sure I was triggered by this, but this happened right before it, and it happened right before it on this other time I was triggered too, and it happened this other time too. So okay, maybe that has something to do with the trigger. You need to be writing it down so that you have some record of it. You've got something tangible that you can go back, flip through, and say, oh yeah, this is what happens when I'm triggered every single time. All right. You want to, what else do you do with the triggers? Try and trace it back, like that feeling of distrust. All of these feelings will manifest in your body before they fully get to your consciousness. Okay. So what you're going to need to do is figure out where in your body you feel the trigger. Where does it come from? Where do you feel it the most strongly when you are triggered? Some people, it's right here in the center of their chest. I feel like it's a drop. It's like all of a sudden, it's like my heart just drops down a couple of inches in my chest. And I know as soon as I feel that feeling, oh, I'm triggered. I'm triggered. Hey, wait a minute. Something just happened. I may not even know exactly what it was. I just have to stop myself for a second, go back a couple of steps and figure out, okay, well, what was it? What was I feeling a little triggered about? And so then you breathe. That's the first thing you do, because it will lock you up. When you first feel that clench of the trigger, it will make you suck in your breath and just hold it. All right. The first thing you do is exhale. First thing you do, blow it out. Okay. Regulate that carbon dioxide and oxygen ratio that's going on in your blood, because once you shut down like that, it increases your carbon dioxide level, and there's a trigger in your brain that says, if the carbon dioxide level is up, then something must be wrong, and then it'll freak you out even more. So, all right, you blow out and try and recognize what just happened. What is it that made your trigger warning go off? All right. And then I want you to have some things that you can do to soothe yourself when you feel the trigger. Have it already lined up for yourself. I am going to go outside and go for a walk or go for a bike ride. I am going to dance all around my living room to my girl power song, whatever song it is that makes you feel like I am just a bad bitch and nothing can take me down. That's the song that I want you to dance to. Okay. I will go get some water. I will hydrate myself. I will drink, 5 swallows of water before I do anything else. A lot of the time that is going to help. Water helps almost everything, just the way oxygen does. There's all sorts of things that you can do. I can go break something. I go get little teacup sets from the thrift store, and those are awesome to break. Okay. Those are awesome to break when you're having a moment. Go break something. All right. So something cheap that didn't really cost you anything in your household. When you're dwelling on this, you need to go and find something else to do. All right. If I remember, Charmaine, you're home working. So that's hard. You are looking at the same walls every day. You were in the same space where trauma happened, so it reminds you of it being there. So maybe you just need to get out of the house for a little while. Take a break. Go walk for about a half hour. Go sit at a cafe and drink your favorite drink and have a pastry. Treat yourself a little bit. Do some self care. Do things for yourself that make yourself feel good. And then work with those as you're feeling uneasy. Of course, doing your deep breathing. If you're finding it hard to breathe, just release. Try to pay attention to your body. Release the tension in your body. Remember, I said you're going to feel it in your physical body before you feel it in your brain. So lower your shoulders, down and back. Expand your chest. All right. Uncover yourself. A lot of times people will cover themselves if they're feeling triggered, if they're feeling anxious. That is that mammal protect my belly instinct. We do not need that instinct. We need to uncover, because we are not mammals. We're not about to get disemboweled. This is emotional pain. This is not a physical thing. This is not like a life or death situation. It just feels like that. Do the things for you. Do the stuff that makes you feel good when you're triggered. Don't try to shove the feeling down. Sit with the feeling. Ask the feeling what its name is. The feeling saying, okay, I am feeling so. What is the feeling? What is that? What is the blank? Am I feeling so angry? Am I feeling so sad? Am I feeling so frustrated? Say the word that describes the feeling, and then just meet the feeling where it is. Don't try and push it away. Don't try and stuff it down and make it so that it's not real. Experience it. Feel it. There's nothing wrong with you feeling your feelings. The only thing that's wrong is if you unpack and live there, number one, and if you use those feelings and you just go off and do something because you're feeling some kind of way. If you are not consciously aware of your actions, you're just reacting off feelings, chances are you're going to be going down the wrong path, doing the wrong thing to people. So just sit with the feeling. Let it make you a little bit uncomfortable, but sit with it and talk to it and see what it has to say to you. And why does this feeling in particular what does it have to do with you? Like, why are you so susceptible to this particular feeling? What is it about your past? What is it about your trauma? What is it about you as an individual that makes you feel so susceptible to this bad feeling? And sit with it, and then let it go. You don't have to hang on to it forever. That's a major problem people have in healing. And I hear it all the time. It's like, well, how can I heal if? And a lot of the time, you just got to go ahead and go for it. You got to go for the healing. You got to release it. You got to release that negativity and go down the healing path, even when you're scared to, even when you don't want to, even when you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm always having to do this. I'm always having to fix it. Even then, even if that's true, if you're always having to fix everything and it's not fair to you, but there's a choice here. Again, you got to make a decision. Are you going to live with it? You're just going to suffer? Or are you going to claw your way out of it and feel better anyway, in spite of what the feelings are telling you? And I feel like you're a type of woman who's going to go ahead and claw your way back anyway. So you might as well just go ahead and be practicing that. You know what I mean? All right. Anything else? Let me see. I don't think. Allie said, it matters how it's used. What, the porn? Well, I mean, most porn is used for masturbation. What else are they using it for? I understand if they're like a sex addict, if they are just consistently using it and that's all that they're interested in. That's one thing. But just having a little bit of time for yourself, I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. Charmaine, you said, I read that men get desensitized with their partner from porn. Yeah, they say that. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think that if you are a sex addict and you are getting desensitized from sex because of sex, not because of porn. A man video sexes with other women, and I feel he doesn't want to have sex with me, and even has ED from it. And you know what? A lot of the time, the ED is stuff from in their own heads. They are getting that shot of testosterone from seeing another woman, and so then that makes them feel like they don't have any problem with it, with getting an erection. It's fine then, because that testosterone is flowing and it works better. But then they don't have that rush. So yeah, that is a possibility that that can happen, that they don't have that rush from the actual like porn of seeing another woman, and so they don't get that surge of testosterone, and so then they feel like they can't get their erection, even though there's probably nothing really wrong with them. It's just that they've been using the porn so much that it has made them they're used to the sensation of the testosterone. It's not really the porn itself, it's the effect of the porn on their bodies. Does that make sense? It's not really the porn itself. It's not the porn desensitizing them. It is getting desensitized to the effects of the testosterone. That makes sense? All right. Let me know. But I feel like you can I feel like grown-ups responsibly using things, everything is okay in moderation. Everything is bad in extremes. So we need to work on just not being extreme, okay? And if you feel like what was Amrita said earlier, he was like, well, I felt like I wasn't gonna get any from you anyway. So he's feeling like that. He was like, I might as well use a little porn and masturbate and go to sleep. That's reasonable. That's not, he's not trying to control your body, because if you say no, then it's just no. So if he wanted to do something anyway, he can do that on his own. And that doesn't seem like a bad thing to do. But yes, using porn too much of anything is a bad thing. Shoot, even too much water is a bad thing. You can get, did you know you can get poison from water? Yeah. So too much of anything, fair enough, is bad. But if you're just using it on a regular basis and you're using it to help yourself get off a little bit, I feel like that's a little bit of self-care. I feel like, just being able to have an orgasm and relax your mind and relax your body, that's not a terrible thing to do. Does that make sense? I understand the feeling about it. I understand feeling like, well, damn, you're gonna use the porn, you're not gonna have sex with me. That's one thing. If they would rather have sex with themselves than having sex with you, that could present a problem, absolutely. But I feel like everybody should be able to have that intimate time with their own body. I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like there's a lot of guilt and shame around people discovering their own bodies. I feel like, a lot of women, we would probably be a lot better off if we were more comfortable with the idea of masturbation and being able to please ourselves, because then you can tell somebody else how to please you if you know how to please yourself. But if you don't know how and you've never done it, like, how do you ever expect anybody else to please you? Seems like it'd be very difficult. It seems like a rough way to go if you've never actually, experimented with yourself. You say you checked in at the right time. There you go. You said, don't worry, you catch the replay. I was talking about it a little bit more on Reddit. I was. But I don't feel like, being responsibly using it, not just constantly all day, every day watching porn. That is probably more sex addiction than anything. But, I feel like sex can be used, just like every other drug. Sex can be used as one of those things that just makes you feel better because you're going through something. I think that's how people end up being addicts. I think that's how they end up being addicted to cocaine and addicted to heroin, because you are trying to medicate something. You're trying to make yourself feel better. And you can use sex exactly the same way. So everything in moderation. You can go entirely too hard on things and have problems. So why God invented man cave, Sally? And she sheds too, girl. And she sheds too. Have a little privacy. Have a little moment on your own. I am fully with that. But yeah, I feel like trying to have control over somebody else's body, that's inappropriate. That is not something that you should be doing. You shouldn't be mad at him because he is playing with his own penis. That's not fair. That doesn't seem like that's a very fair thing to do. If he doesn't want to have sex, you could do it on your own too. You can do it on your own just fine, just like he can. Or you can get a rose like they have out here. You don't have to get the heavy duty hardware. You can get something that's easy, and assist you and get you where you need to be too. I don't feel like, I feel like you can't get too mad if you're telling him, well, no, I don't want to have sex on a regular basis, and then you're mad because he wants to masturbate because he wants to get off. That's kind of mean too. That's not appropriate. You're trying to have control over somebody else's body. That's not appropriate. All right. Let's see. You still got that too? I know that's right, Allie. Get your she shed. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I got my vision board set up with the ideas for my she shed. I'm like, it's gonna be gorgeous. It's gonna be great. When we move into our next house, it's gonna be awesome. So I'm excited about that, having my own little space, and he's gonna have his own little space. And you should have that. If there's the lack of trust after infidelity make you want to be like all in their face on a regular basis, and it's not great for you. It's not. You need time by yourself. You need time on your own to do things that you want to do, and he needs time on his own to be able to do things he wants to do too. You can't be in each other's face all the time. It's not appropriate. Like right now, I'm here with you, and my honey's in here, and you may be able to hear him. He's watching basketball in the other room. So, you got your own little thing going on sometimes. That's perfectly all right. All right. Anything else? Anything else going on? Any other questions you want to ask me? Let's see. It's always over an hour. We're always over an hour in the Healing Hour Live. But, it takes a while to get down the healing path. It does. We got to do some stuff. Got to talk about some things to get past this. But I think that's about it. Any other questions? I'll wait a couple more seconds. But just a quick reminder, go sign up for the Trust Issues Challenge. This is a really good challenge. This is one of those real good ones where every single day you're working on it. You're doing something to help yourself trust again. You need that. You need to be doing that. It's an excellent way to go about it just every day, because everybody is doing the exact same thing. And we are going forward and we are making those strides, and you are showing your brain what you want. And what you want is to be trusting and to be open. And so when you give it that example every day for like a week, it's a lot easier after that. It's a lot easier to do. You'll end up with like really good stuff happening. Like you'll feel really good and the relationship will be going really good, and it'll freak you out a little bit, but it's okay to have those little freakouts when things have been going well. Those are the freakouts that you appreciate, because it's like all this time we've been doing so well, things have been okay, and then I had a little freak out because it was going too well and I let my walls down. But that means that we was actually making progress. We were actually moving forward in our healing. We weren't just stuck. We were doing good, and I was letting down those walls. And yeah, it got a little scary and I threw up a wall again, but I can bring it back down again because that's what I was doing already. I know how to do that. I can do it. So it's those time periods after you like your challenge with me are going to be a little bit interesting. and then afterwards it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, because you'll have changed some things and you'll have let down some walls and you'll be a little upset over small things right after the challenge. But that's why I offer my what is it going to be? I think it's going to be our Recovery and Reconciliation membership after that. So you'll have somebody to talk to after that if you sign up. So, Beth, you said love the Healing Hour. 5 stars. That's what I'm talking about. Beautiful stuff. I love to do this. This is so much fun. I was looking forward to this all day long. I swear, I've been learning more. I think I have. I don't know if I told y'all this before. I did that. I feel like I have ADHD, and I didn't realize it until I'm like now, and I'm like 40. And I've been looking it up, and they said part of it is sometimes you will get into waiting mode, and you won't be able to really think about anything else except for what you're doing later. And that's what I did today. I swear, I was sitting here in full waiting mode, just thinking about talking to you all tonight. That's all I was thinking about. I was stuck there all day long. I couldn't really do anything else. I couldn't focus on anything else because I'm like excited because we're going to do the Healing Hour Live. We're going to be talking tonight. So all of my focus was on that today. So I am glad we got a chance to talk. If you're here now or you're on the replay, make sure that you let me know. Give me some likes, give me some hearts, give me some hashtag replay if you're here on the replay. But definitely join me for the Trust Issues Challenge. Okay, it is good stuff. You'll enjoy yourself, and we got prizes too. We got prizes. It's good stuff. All right, I don't see any further questions, comments, thoughts, complaints, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night for the end of the Healing Hour Live. You're so welcome, Bev. You're so welcome to everybody that was here. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being here with me. I love to get to talk to you all. If you've got something that you need to talk to me about, you can feel free to message me. Let me know. If it gets, to the point where you feel like you need more help, I have programs that you can join me on, and you can work with me as your coach going forward. So, whatever you need, I am here for you. I want to help you heal. I know you can do it because I have done it and I've seen it done many other times. So I definitely want you to feel like you have somewhere to go. Come talk to me. All right. Allie, you said thank you, Queen. You're so welcome, Queen. I'm so glad that you were here today. So glad that I saw all of you today. I think that's about it. Let's see. Let's give you an affirmation to go with. I am already perfect. How about that? I love that as an affirmation. People get always thinking about what they need to do to become perfect. But what if you're not missing anything to be perfect? What if you're already perfect exactly the way you are? So I am already perfect is your affirmation for the week. And for the rest of the week, make sure you don't do what the fear tells you to do. Do the opposite. Stay in your mindset of getting towards your healing and not doing the things that the fear and the pain are telling you to do. Okay. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will be back again next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Healing Hour Live. I will talk to you then, okay? Bye.